Hello, welcome to Adobe Live. Thank you so much for joining us today. If we haven't met yet, I am Jordan Danae Ellis, Community Manager for Adobe Express, and I am joined as always by Andy Lambert. Hello, Andy.
Hello, Jordan. How are you?
Good. I'm so excited. We're trying something new today. So if you've watched our videos before, we focus a lot on social media and online marketing and how specifically you can use Adobe Express to level up your online business, no matter what your brand or business is. And today we're going to do a deep dive into Facebook to show kind of like every single thing that we know about Facebook, from like the platform to the content ideas to how to actually set it up. And hello to everyone in the chat. Our chat is popping right now. Hello, Jessica, Gloria, Eric, Christian. Feel free to drop any of your questions for Andy or I throughout the stream, and we'll answer as many as we can.
Awesome. Great to see so many people. It's
yeah,
awesome.
I know. This is great. Should we just get started? Should we do more of an intro? What do you think?
I think why don't you tell everyone about yourself? We'll do a quick intro and then we'll dive in because we've got a lot to cover today. So we'll make it snappy.
Cool. So like I said, I'm a community manager for Adobe Express, but in my past life and on the side, I've run 3 different businesses. We're actually going to talk about like different businesses today, and I have personal experience in 2 of the 3. So I have done a retail business and I don't even know what you'd call it. I run a magazine and like a podcast and a blog. That's such a nebulous, a very tiny media company, I guess. I've done social media management for small brands also. So actually Facebook is the thing I started on. Like I started running businesses 13 years ago. And so Facebook was like the thing. It was, pre-Instagram. I think I had a Twitter too. That was not the thing that made my business run, but Facebook was like the first platform I got 10,000 followers on. It's the first platform I had like an actual community on. So Facebook really is it's the thing that started my whole business, really.
I love that. Seems like a perfect thing to cover today. I'm going to keep mine really, really short. I'm Andy. I was one of the founding team of a company called Content Cal. It's a social media management software. We grew that. We used Facebook to grow that, as well as a whole bunch of other content platforms as well, as you might expect. And that business was bought by Adobe in December 21. So feels like quite a long time ago now. I kind of bring the strategic bit here. So Jordan is the creative. So we're going to do the nerdy numbers bit. I'm sure if you've watched our streams before, you'll know this. So I'm going to do the nerdy numbers bit first and talk around some kind of strategy bits and bobs. And then I'm going to hand over to Jordan to bring it to life and use some of her creative capabilities for this. So basically I get to do the easy bit. Jordan does the hard bit. So let's jump into
I was going to say, Marco's asking, what's the best type of graphics for Facebook marketing, videos, posts, or stories? And we are literally about to get into that. So perfect.
Yeah, but segue. Keep those questions flying in. So let's fire up the slides and let's do it. So let us all get found on Facebook. So Jordan, you've already alluded to this a little bit, but these are the 3 things we're going to cover today over the next kind of 50 minutes or so. We're going to look at where Facebook is in its life cycle right now, the numbers, etc. Look at the demographics so we can make sure it's the right fit for our businesses. Then we're going to go into a bit of inspiration. We're going to talk about different content types, as you just said there, Jordan. What are the things that are working, and importantly, and just as importantly, I think, look at some of the things that aren't working very well. What are the things you should avoid? And then we're going to give you a whole bunch of ideas that will help ignite your feed. So suggestions, and we've made it, this time, as Jordan said, we're doing something a little bit different. So we wanted to keep this really balanced because my background is B2B, Jordan predominantly B2C, and also both of us kind of do the personal branding stuff as well. So we're going to look across those 3 different vectors.
What a good round. I'm so glad we have a little bit of all of it. That's great.
Exactly that. So we really want to make this like very accessible, make sure it's going to be, at least there'll be some components of this that should be relevant to everyone. That's the hope anyway, but we'll take your feedback in the chat because all of these sessions are about you that are watching. So we want to make it the best possible thing it could be. Anyway, and as I said at the end, Jordan's going to bring some of the stuff we're going to be talking about to life and show you how you can do this in Adobe Express and how it how we can make it not take, a whole day to get this stuff done, right? How can we speed up and simplify our processes? Talking of kind of giving you loads of social media content and strategy advice and creative tips, etc. We've got a newsletter. You might have heard this when we spoke about it a couple of weeks back, but the first edition is due out next week, I think. So if you want to stay on top of everything that's happening in the world of social, trends, changes, updates, get inspired with a bunch of content ideas and hand-picked templates from Jordan as well, some of the best posts that we can rock and roll with. Ideally, this should be your one single email a month, so you can get all of the strategic and practical social media advice that you need every single month. It's free. Feel free to subscribe. You'll see the little link at the top. I'm sure we can share that in the chat as well.
It's already in the chat, so
amazing. Amazing. All right, cool. Preamble done. Let's get into it. Facebook by the numbers. No surprise that it is absolutely massive. Nearly 50% of the world's population is actively using Facebook every single month, 2.8 billion users. The numbers are so big, it's kind of hard to really understand that. Absolutely massive.
It's wild.
Yeah, it really is. And the majority of those users, unsurprisingly, access both on desktop and predominantly on mobile as well. So it really means that, as much as sometimes I hear this, we had some really interesting discussion as I kind of was talking about this on LinkedIn and saying that we're doing this event today. And it's often a bit of a narrative I hear that you can't grow on Facebook anymore. Facebook is a pay-to-play game. Many people call it that. And what they mean by that is that without ads, there is no point in Facebook. You've got to pay money to be seen. And there is a modicum of truth in that for sure. But what we want to do is actually dig into that a little bit and really pick underneath the surface and try and understand, actually, with that many people online using it every single day, how can we not reach them is really the question. And now we're going to really unpack that and think about how can we make this a reality for you and how can you get found on Facebook. And as you can see there, great stat, the world's third most popular website as well.
So wild.
Yeah, absolutely massive. It has to be, fundamentally, it has to be a great place to build our business because nothing connects us like Facebook. Now, we know there's a bunch of challenges and we know Facebook, as we've said in all of our kind of social media updates and roundups, that the age demographic within Facebook is shifting, right? It is shifting older. We know there is newer emerging social platforms that typically have garnered the attention of the younger audience. But that being said, what you'll see when you kind of take a step back and forget the media headlines for a moment, you'll look at a really nice balanced pie chart because that shows a really equal split across a whole bunch of different age demographics, meaning that irrespective of the type of business that we are, it's likely that our audience are here somewhere, right? Not only is it used by about 50% of the world's population, it's split really nicely across a whole bunch of age demographics, as well split fairly even from a gender perspective. So really what we're just describing there in the first 3 slides is that theoretically, this should be a really strong platform for all of us, irrespective of whatever business that we do. But this is the bit, and I want to show this because this is the thing that highlights the challenge. I've shared this slide numerous times if you've joined previous sessions before, and I think this highlights the challenge that most people find with Facebook, right? It's, it is so populated. It's the third most popular website for a reason. It means that there is a sea of content. Standing out is hard for sure. And what we mean by these engagement rates, and I think this is a really kind of poignant thing to look at, is that this shows the percentage of those followers that we have that interact with our content. So engage and comment on it. So I've said, if you've seen previous roundups and previous sessions that we've done, you'll know that I'm constantly talking about how powerful TikTok is because it allows us to reach our audience so effectively. But then you look at Facebook, it's completely on the other end of the spectrum. Our reach rate, the amount of people that we can reach, even if they do follow us, is incredibly low as an average. However, there are some ways to get around this, but it's typically this statistic that holds a lot of people back, where you're like, it is a pay-to-play game. You'll never get found on Facebook because, it's just a melee of content and standing out is too hard. So this is what we're going to try and solve today. So one way of helping get around some of these challenges is think about the timing of our posts. So this is probably the most comprehensive study that I've seen on timing of posts. So as you can see here, between 1 to 3 p.m. during the week and on Saturdays gives you the best opportunity to stand out, get noticed. So of course, this is generic and general advice. If you do post regularly on Facebook, the kind of standard guidance that I would offer to you is, have a look at your analytics, look at what posts performed fairly well, and look at the times of those posts so that you can also start to get your own understanding of the best time to post. Fairly obvious advice, I give it all the time. But if you don't know that right now and you're posting across a number of different times, this can give you a good guide. So hopefully that makes a degree of sense. Now, let's kind of focus on how do we make Facebook work well for us? And there are really kind of 3 core themes here. This is where Facebook is particularly strong, and I'm going to kind of give you a content format that's working better than any others as well after this. So the 3 components of Facebook that work particularly well. Number 1 is community. And I think this number is staggering. I knew Facebook groups was important, but the fact that, like 60% of Facebook active users use Facebook groups. It is such an essential part of the Facebook experience now. And we've seen in numerous capacities, both as building our business at Content Cal, the Facebook group we created was incredibly powerful for us. We see this in the Adobe Insiders group, which you run, Jordan. I don't know if you just want to give a bit of a narrative on Facebook groups.
Yeah, so for the Insiders group, it is specifically for Adobe Express users to share what they're creating and ask questions. But the way that we have built community there, I think is really special because it's an actual back and forth in the way Facebook pages and ads aren't necessarily. You can react to comments, but the thing that's so special about a group is that, folks from Adobe can go share new things that are coming out or go ask questions from users, and then users can share their feedback or their projects or their requests for what they want to see. So it really is a back and forth in a way that a lot of social media feels like one person is presenting something and then their audience sees it. I think groups do, yes, the community aspect of it very well, which is pretty unique.
Definitely. And it's that back and forth, it's that interaction piece that we're going to really dig into today. And you'll see this coming up in some of these post ideas and suggestions that's working well for other businesses that are using Facebook effectively, in some examples I'm going to share in a second. And I think typically, if I'm going to be quite generalist in this comment, it's like I've seen many businesses get quite lazy with Facebook. So unsurprisingly, we've started to see, reach reduce as a result, getting lazy in terms of turning out promotional orientated messages that don't put the audience at the heart of what that message is. And that's where groups can be so effective, because here we just want to strike up a conversation. That's what we should be trying to do on social. We're not here just to post and then sell our goods. We're not meant to use it like our email subscriber base. So using communities wisely, and the real kind of big call to action and takeaway I want everyone to think about from this is don't think that you just need to set up your own Facebook group to make Facebook work for you. Work with other Facebook groups. Look at the others that work, that operate within your industry. Think about how you can collaborate with those other groups. Jordan and I talk about collaboration all the time. And honestly, Facebook was one of the biggest drivers of organic growth for our business at Content Cal, which was a small business B2B tech startup, because we worked in all of the communities and the Facebook groups that had social media managers or did social media training or whatever. We got involved with all of those. It took time for sure to build up relationships with those people that ran those groups. But my word, that created such a wonderful, viral word of mouth effect that underpinned the growth of our business. So yeah, this is why I always get very passionate about don't forget Facebook, because it is incredibly powerful when you use groups wisely. And moving on to the next one. We said it's not pay to play.
Just really quick, Eric in the chat says communities seem to provide a unique opportunity engagement factor. And I think that is completely true. It's a very special way to do it.
Absolutely nailed it, for sure. So let's kind of go to the other side of that. Let's look at ads, right? Because nothing gives us the reach that Facebook does, and it continually rolls out more and more options related to ads. Now, our sessions, so the ones that we do, Jordan, are explicitly focused on like really like organic stuff that's that's free to do. Obviously it takes effort, but it's free to do, so we won't spend too long on that. But Facebook is super powerful for ads, we know this. And then there's e-commerce, which we're going to see more and more going into next year. Social shopping continues to grow as a theme. So if you're in online retail, if you're in a B2C type of environment, like Facebook shops, tagging your content with your inventory, your items, etc., super powerful. And Facebook are continually doing more related to shops and e-commerce. Formats that are most effective. If you're into Facebook and you like trying to figure out like growth strategies, I would definitely recommend following Rachel Peterson. As you can see here, this is a TikTok I saw from her this morning, because she's been very good at like building her brand on TikTok. But in fact, she's just been seeing some monumental growth from Facebook Reels right now. So it was actually perfect timing, because I saw this TikTok this morning. I was like, right, that's going in our slide deck today. But yeah, incredible growth in 1 month from transitioning to running Reels on her personal profile. And it just goes to show, Facebook said they were going to be doing this. Facebook have come out and said explicitly that they are introducing more recommended content into the feed. So we've spoken about this before, and that is a very kind of TikTok orientated model where we're not limited by the fact that we only have 100 followers. This is actually about putting out really good content that anyone can find now. And of course, that content that Facebook are going to be recommending is going to be Reels. So Reels will be significant from Facebook. I thought it would be. I didn't think it would be this powerful. So I haven't tested this for myself because I only saw this morning. But Jordan, I think this might be one for us to have a bit of an experiment with.
Yeah, totally. That's amazing.
So in addition to Reels being the most effective format, I haven't got a screen for this, but I should flag it anyway. Facebook Live still continue to perform really well, achieving much higher engagement rates than comparative other types of content. Basically, video is where it's at on Facebook. About 80% of content consumed on Facebook is video. Absolutely massive. So if you think about all of the different types of video, whether that is a reel, whether that is just in feed video, or whether that is a live video, that's really where it's all at for Facebook. So they're your most successful content formats that will help you kind of get around that limiting engagement factor that we've been talking about. Link posts do not work well. You might know this already, but I just want to flag this. So when I say link posts, it's the ones that look like this on the right hand side, where you're just putting in a link and saying, hey, come to this or download this or whatever. Facebook hates it because it directs you off the platform. So try your best not to do it. We all know that we need to share links because generally we have a call to action. Just share those in the comments, I would suggest. Yes, it hides the link a little bit, but ultimately it's going to help us get around this limiting reach factor. So quick summary, we've spoken about 3 things that helps us kind of get found on Facebook and help us get around the fact that Facebook is very hard to grow on. So we're going to focus more on communities and focus more on interaction. We're going to focus more on video content and less on link posts. Now we're going to look at some content inspiration. Let's do a quick check of how we're doing for time. Perfect.
We're doing great. Okay. Yeah.
Love it. Cool. Let's look at B2B first. And there's 18 post ideas coming your way. And I'll give a bit of a narrative as to why, we think they're good. They're all from brands that are using Facebook well. But it's fair to say that even though it's kind of B2B and B2C and personal brand is how we've separated them, the fact is social media is social. It's human for a reason, that there should really be no reason why we shouldn't be in like a B2B or B2C mindset. We need to be thinking about engaging content that drives a response, that puts the audience at the heart of our message. So it doesn't actually really matter whether it's B2B or B2C. We're marketing to fellow humans. So we want to, if we think we would react to it and we want to engage with it, then we know it's good post and it's good content to put out. But anyway.
I was gonna say too, we can talk about my panic trying to put this demo together, because I was like, Andy, I can't figure out the difference between like B2B, B2C. What do I do? And you were like, they're the same. Like there are differences for sure between personal branding, customer, like there are nuanced differences, but probably anyone with any business could pull, helpful ideas for your own posts from any of these. They're not that different.
100% agree. It's exactly that. So it just kind of, we should remove those boundaries that we put in front of ourselves to go, oh, I'm B2B, I should be talking to my audience in that way. We fundamentally, we're speaking to humans, so that is our job. So we can get rid of all of those terms. But either way, just for the purpose of clarity, we put the terms in for this section anyway. So let's get to it. Number one, polls, and being able to use the polls based around these reactions, right? So people love to be asked about their opinion on things. Putting your audience at the heart of your content, you'll see this coming up again and again. Polls, great way to define those reactions. And here we're asking people to put a heart or a surprise, depending on where they're at. The best ideas for those polls is where there is a kind of polarizing perspective, where typically, people are going to be split, because that means people are more encouraged to react because they can feel, do I fit into one camp or another? Similar ones in like B2B would be like, what's more important, marketing or sales? The fact is they're both important, but you're kind of asking the audience to go one way or the other, and people typically have passionate views on those. So as you can see, lots of people have reacted, loads of people sharing, because people want to share that with their friends that that might resonate with. So polls, powerful. Quotes, easy, and Jordan's going to show some examples later on. Quotes are just gold dust. They always perform so darn well. But make sure we're including a bit of a question as well to encourage some interaction on this. Once again, we don't just want to say, here's a post, no action. We want to encourage some form of action. So here, like my favorite thing to do when we're talking about like quotes, I just have a bookmark for like marketingquotes.com. And there's just a whole bunch of quotes that I'll use in my content that resonate with me, that I think will be impactful for others. Because especially when people are scrolling a feed, they want some quick, snappy inspiration. So quotes can be super powerful in a B2B context. Insights, this is something that I absolutely adore. And honestly, this has been the best content format from my personal perspective since we started doing these kind of social media news and updates things about 5 years ago. That's been the best thing for both building the reputation of the business and as a kind of personal endeavor as well. And it's fulfilling too, because you can feel like you're helping people through these insights. And anything that you have, any proprietary knowledge you have, whatever industry you're in, how can you turn that into just a kind of quick bit of data that will allow people to learn something new? Doesn't need to be wildly complex or massive industry breaking research. We could be putting out a poll to our users and just representing that through some social content. Basically, insights, thinking about what your audience would like to learn. Similar thing for infographics. You can build some great looking infographics on Adobe Express if you want to as well. And this, once again, just helps bring that data to life in a real visual format. Makes it stand out. You can put it in your brand colors. And once again, this post isn't the best one because it doesn't ask a question. So I'd be tying in those questions again into it. Behind the scenes, a great way to humanize your B2B brand as well, and bonus points as well for wrapping this around, national days and key events. So we have this on the Adobe Express blog, actually, all of the calendars of the upcoming national days and national events, so you don't miss any of those awareness days, because, those hashtags will trend on every single platform. So it's a fantastic way to get yourself seen by a new audience that are looking at that hashtag. And of course, yes, whilst dogs isn't about Typeform's business, it's all about how we build the brand. And that is the point about social. We need to disconnect the fact that just because we're B2B, we should be driving sales with every post. That is not how social works for B2B. It's all about brand and trust building. We need to connect on a human level before we could ever think about doing business with an individual. Cool, then how-tos. We love how-tos, don't we, Jordan?
Sure do. The whole thing.
So yeah, Adobe Express is filled with how-tos, and especially impactful on to be used on Facebook Reels as well. Like a quick 20-second, here's how you can remove a background from a photo. Here's how you can do this. Everyone's got their kind of ways of doing things, bringing that to life, giving people that kind of inspiration through how-to, super, super powerful. B2C. All right, already spoken about this.
Real quick, we had a question. We had a question in the chat. What is B2B and B2C?
Ha, cool. You asked me this before as well.
I did ask you this before.
All right, cool. B2B, business to business. So businesses that sell to other businesses. So let's take Adobe, for example, right? Adobe is a product that gets bought typically by businesses. B2C, take a pizza company like DiGiorno. So people that are businesses that are bought by consumers. And then we'll go on to personal brands as well, but I think everyone gets that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and typically the reason why we talk about it is that many people think about B2Bs has to be much more kind of boring and functional and that kind of stuff. And that's what we're trying to get rid of here. Anyway, let's talk about consumer-oriented businesses. So bonus points here because this is about Super Bowl, but extra bonus points because it involves collaboration and contribution from members of their community, showing different styles related to Super Bowl. So you kind of get double bonus points here because not only are you using the right hashtags, you're also involving others. So this could have been even better had you tagged the others, or had Primark tagged the others in this as well. Then UGC, we love UGC. Jordan is
my favorite. Oh man,
there you go. So in this example, right, you kind of get 2 for 1 in these kind of post ideas, because one, you've got to create the post to get people to submit their quotes. So this is a really good example here. So they've obviously asked their followers to say, give us a quote. What dog logic do you have? It's quite relevant, actually. We were just looking at, one of our co-workers' puppy a second ago, the cutest thing on the planet. But anyway, so dog lovers would love to give their advice. So it's a great way of getting loads of contribution on one post and then using that contribution to shine a light on your followers. Honestly, it's like the most perfect composition of a post, celebrating others and then creating really valuable content that's engaging for new people. So do you have a take on UGC stuff?
Also, the thing about it that's so great is, it's what you just said, but you can shout out your community or your customers or your audience while also coming up with posts for yourself. So it's really, really win-win. You can celebrate others while also you just have a post at the ready. It's perfect. It's the main thing I do.
Yeah, and it works so well. That's why your brands do so well on social, because you make it about other people. And if, in case anyone's unclear, UGC, user-generated content, basically going to others to create content for you and championing those that have contributed. Giveaways, I don't need to explain that one. Everyone gets a giveaway. Super powerful, but it's really important to note that actually I've observed so many giveaways over the last 5 years. The ones that are lower value are the ones that work the best. So those big giveaways that might be a kind of more lavish prize that fewer people win, people feel like they have less of a chance of winning those kind of bigger prizes than actually book giveaways or giving away a pizza gets loads of people involved. So think about those things you could give away. Yeah, interesting psychology at work with that one. But yeah, think about the dynamics of that. You want people to comment, to be with a chance of winning, comment with your right answer or your prediction, because you want engagement on your posts. You want lots of people commenting, because commenting is the king of all engagement, or the queen. So that is the most important thing you can do. So the more that you can encourage comments, the more your content is going to be seen by others. Final bit of B2C challenges. So, Lenovo, they sell laptops, right? So not particularly exciting, but they do sell to consumers here. So they kind of bridge the gap between B2B and B2C. But little mini laptops, can you find them all? 49 comments, 10 shares, 283 likes for a computer manufacturer, right? So that just goes to show that when people are on social for kind of light entertainment, for relief, they want to look at something different. So giving people some kind of little challenge or something entertainment orientated is a really smart move. Testimonials, putting someone else at the heart of your content. Yet again, I don't need to speak about that because we all get it. Not everyone has and then let's look at the right-hand side. Not everyone has a founder's journey quite like Spanx, it's fair to say, because this picture is just the most epic thing.
I know, it's
like, so cool. So not everyone has that story to tell, but it doesn't need to be, hey, I've become a multi-gazillionaire from my bedroom. It's the story. We're all humans and we're all interested in the story. We've spent our lives listening to stories. That's what unites us. That's what connects us. So everyone wants to hear a story painted in a really interesting way. No one wants to read like War and Peace, like a full bio of 2,000 characters, but a snapshot of like this is why the how it started, how it's going type of thing works really well, because it tells such a clear, incredible story in, just a snapshot of a moment. So that's why it's powerful. And personal brand, let's finish off on this, and then we're going to hand over to Jordan to bring some of this to life. Storytelling. This is the one piece of advice I think I go back to again and again, where people are saying like, oh, my social content isn't working. No one's taking any action on my content. So Melissa's post here is, if you strip it back, she's promoting her podcast. She wants people to subscribe to her podcast, but it is all wrapped in a story. It's wrapped in like, here's what I've learned. Here's the struggle of, building my brand. Here's the things like that made me anxious. It's kind of similar to that founder story stuff that we were just talking about. And it's what I always say to personal brands, rather than being like, hey, I'm so pleased to be speaking like on this webinar next week. No one really cares whether you're pleased to be speaking. They're like, what's it actually mean to you personally? Tell the story, then people will get behind that story, get behind the human behind it, and then likely take an action. So that's the key thing. I think Melissa's a great example, and we'll share these slides as well, of similar posts where you've got a call to action, you want someone to download a piece of content, tell a story of what that means to you. We did exactly the same thing when we launched our newsletter last week as well. So ask the audience, once again, it's all about audience first. What will you read today? What do you want to see happen next? That kind of thing. Competitions, right-hand side, I'm going to speed up through this a little bit so we can hand over to Jordan for some of the goodness. Caption competitions, look at things that you might find. So some of the great stock imagery that you'll find on Adobe stock, things like that. You'll find some incredible photos that will be awesome for like caption competitions, because people love to get involved with that. So as you can see, incredibly engaging. Spoken about this already, but a huge component of what we do, industry news and updates, being seen as the thought leader, as much as I kind of hate that term, being seen in the industry as the person that people go to supply valuable content and to help people stay abreast of everything that's going on. That's a really powerful place for you to be as a personal brand. Then day in the life, once again, keeping it real, keeping it very human. People can identify with this. If you're a cat owner, you get it, they take over. So it's a nice way of like giving your perspective, staying in people's feeds, but ultimately making it relevant. And then I'm going to save one of my favorites for the last, which is about co-creation. Lucy's approach to building her social media planner, which is brilliant, by the way, load of different covers, and got people to like suggest what's their favorite cover. People like to be involved, people like to be asked, and it allows lots of people to comment and collaborate on that content and feel a degree of ownership when it comes out, because you can choose the cover and go, oh, hey, like that is an amazing suggestion from Ellie, so we're going to take Ellie's cover and we're going to make that the hero. And how good does that feel for that individual? And that is really the magic of social media, involving others and taking others along with you on that journey. The three takeaways across all of those, because they have three uniting factors: they focus on the audience, they prioritize entertainment, education, and inspiration. Think across that kind of magic triangle of entertainment, education, and inspiration. They're all relatable. Forget the corporate identity, really think about the human behind the business, tell that story, and they all create engagement. They're all there to focus on getting people to comment, because engagement drives reach. So the more comments, the more people see it. Reach creates awareness, and awareness builds the trust, and trust builds a brand. That is why it's so important to focus on like that top of funnel brand building elements. And that's where we can unlock some of the growth through Facebook. Right. perfectly on time.
I know. Nailed it.
Over to you, Jordan.
Perfect. Yeah, so I'm going to show how to actually make 3 of the things that Andy and I have been talking about. So we'll do 1 B2B, 1 B2C, 1 personal brand demo. So we can dive right in. Cool. This is the Adobe Express homepage. If you've never seen it, welcome. You can do so many things in this program, but I'm going to show off one of my favorite tricks first, which is saving your favorite templates into libraries. So you don't have to start from search every time. So I have made a library of the templates I want to show off today. Let's start with the B2B. We're going to do a quote template. So one of the things that Andy talked about was B2B, like being kind of a thought leader, being basically showing off like what you know for your audience. So this is a quote template that I really like. This is just something I like doing. I'm going to duplicate the page so we can see before and after. This looks like it could be Facebook size or close to, but here's another trick. I'm going to group all of these before resizing, because sometimes if you don't group the elements before you hit resize, they explode all over the canvas. So that's one of my pro tips. And then over here under resize, you can do, any of the social platforms. We're going to head to Facebook. I think I skipped it. Yep, went the wrong way. So pretty close. There's just a little bit on the edges here. That's nice and easy to even that out. So I pulled a quote ahead of time from Brene Brown, one of my favorites. If you've never used Adobe Express before, it's incredibly easy. This template has, I think, 5 pieces: a background, a cutout image here, and then a quote here. So I'm just going to copy and paste the quote and give credit for this quote. Oh, sorry, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I was going to say Brene Brown is such a strong choice.
Yeah,
it's all gold.
I don't know a lot of B2B things, but I do know that she's great. So I was like, cool, we'll start here. And you can do so many things, like font recommendations give you a lot of options here. I guess we could like kind of switch it up and we can swap these out. Oh man, fonts are so tricky. I'm gonna go for one of my go-tos at the top. Cool, let's do that. And then you can hit this replace image right here. If you were talking about someone in your own company, you could actually do a headshot. I'm just going to pull from the free Adobe photos right here. So these will not be actually Brene Brown, but let's pull this picture in because I love it. If it's not quite lined up, you can go to the crop and shape and adjust it to where you need it to be. And then I'm going to swap out this background for something that matches a little better. These are all gradients. Let's try this one. Cool. I'm just going to change the text color to make it a little less wild. So like one of my favorite tricks, which if you watched our videos before, I love things that are rinse and repeatable. So that took 2 minutes. And I did a few ahead of time too, just so you could see, like, you could make this look a lot of different ways depending on the background. You can do black and white, but if quotes is one of your buckets, like this is just, this is where we started, this is where we are. You can do templates like this once a week, once a month, whatever is in your content. Calendar, I'm going to show how to schedule this. So up in the right, we'll hit the schedule button. I should have everything synced. Yeah. I'm going to post it to Facebook. You could do multiple platforms if you want. Since we're focusing on Facebook, I'm just going to do that. And then, man, the bane of my existence is thinking up the caption. I'll say we all love Brene Brown. And to ask a question. to get some engagement, what's your favorite quote of hers? We can hit preview so we can see what it looks like. Looks great. And then I'm going to hit draft so I don't actually schedule this. But you can see now, if we go into, weekly, you can see now this is scheduled to go out Tuesday. We can move it around anywhere we want. And that is it, like start to finish. I'm going to go back to my libraries and choose a B2C template. This is going to be kind of similar. I'm doing a testimonial template too. So we did a quote, which is like showing off, thought leadership, inspiration, that type of thing. Testimonials, I think, are one of my favorite tricks because you can use them for any type of business. You can use them for like service businesses, but you can also for retail businesses. You can share like reviews. I don't know why this is not opening. I'm going to try this again from my projects.
That's why we love live demos.
Yeah, it just happens sometimes. It's in my projects too, so I'm just going to edit it from here. But this is a template that I found that I love. So this is someone I think who runs a therapy business, but I'm going to show how to change this for like a cafe. So doing my same little grouping trick, resize for Facebook. And then same thing, since it's a little wider, just have to make it take up space. Okay, so this is really the same thing. I'm just going to edit the colors a little bit. You can pull your brand colors. I'm gonna do something that's a little more like, yeah, let's do that. And then same thing, if you're using your actual company, you can replace with images from your own life and your own business. But I love that Adobe Express has so many Adobe stock photos. So since we're doing a cafe, I'm going to type in coffee. Let's do like this one. This looks like a picture you could actually take. Same thing, going to, with this crop and shape, scoot it over. And then
obviously the Adobe stock stuff just constantly blows my mind. Like how you can get access to so much of that stuff for free as well, or even like with a basic subscription. Like the quality is unbelievable. It's not just because I work for Adobe now. It's just, it genuinely is awesome.
I know. And it really is nice for stuff like this if you don't have a ton of photo shoots. Like, you can have access to everything. I also like this trick, doing 5 stars, or, don't lie about it. That. But if you have 5 stars, that's one of my favorites. And down here, instead of learn more, man, for a cafe, we could do join us today. You could do shop now, you could do get directions, like whatever makes sense for your brand or business. You can, same thing, we don't need to demo this 1,000 times, but you can change the fonts. If you have a brand, so I have one of my brands loaded, your brand fonts will be at the top to make it nice and easy. So that's something that I really recommend if you have branding that you want to use to keep your look consistent.
Fonts is, that whole brand thing is such a massive time saver, especially when it comes to this kind of stuff, when you've got your own kind of feel for how, because that's what we've not spoken about so far, is like having like something that's uniquely yours. It feels like your content through like the colors, the fonts, logos. Obviously having those pre-saved in brands means like a press of a button and it's there. You know,
especially if you have multiple
smart
brands or don't have them memorized. Like I have 3 set up and sometimes I forget which fonts go with which. So it's really nice. I'll show you too over here under design. Yeah, so I have a lot of brands set up, but I can switch between the brands that I have too. Probably none of you will have as many as I do, but that's
a great example because it's so different as well.
Yeah, they're really different from each other too. So that is a great thing. We have a question. Does resizing work for video content as well? I don't believe it works like this, and there are video updates coming. You can.
I'll touch on that real quick. Yeah. So right now, no, in Express explicitly, but there's, you know, as Jordan said, there's some things coming down the track that will mean we can answer emphatically yes to that question very, very soon. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for some updates on that one.
Perfect. Okay, so this is a little, you know, this is one version. I have a couple others that I've made in advance. You could do it for a salon, like this is a testimonial. You could, you know, say book now. You could do it for other types of retail with a quote or a review. I'm going to speed through scheduling because it's exactly the same, but you know,
one thing I'll call out as well as we're kind of writing the caption. Yeah, so one, you're already on it, Jordan, like asking a question, like who's been, for example, like where's, you know, where have you had your best cup of coffee, for example, trying to encourage that level of interaction. And Justin, who we've got the quote from, we definitely want to make sure we tag them, and we can, you know, provided we've got permission, etc. You know, getting these pieces of customer feedback and testimonial is a bit of a strategy in itself. I think, Jordan, you've got quite a good approach to that as well, right? That you had for your own personal brand. It might be worth calling that out.
Sorry, I was typing. Say the beginning again.
Yeah, I can't multitask either. You know, we're talking about like how we can gather testimonials and feedback, and I think you've got a really good example to share related to that for your own brand, right?
I mean, I save them in a notes. Is that what you're talking about?
As in like how you can ask for those recommendations and testimonials and how you can get people to share as well. That's what I'm thinking about.
Yes. Yeah. So in my retail brand, with all of the orders, I send out a little card that says like, follow us on Instagram, you know, share a photo, share a review, and we'll send you a digital gift card. So that is now I'm catching what you're like.
Yeah, I didn't really ask you very well.
Yes. So that is something you can do, which gives you a lot of user-generated content, which we've been talking about, and also gives you, reviews. You can also do things like that. Like my website has reviews and testimonials. You can pull from that. I have a podcast, which like you can go into iTunes or Spotify or wherever you get reviews. Like there are tons of ways for kind of whatever you have.
And just, I was thinking in that context, that can be a really good way of like, one, getting those reviews so you can use those in those content, and two, having those people you can tag. So don't forget that you can also, you know, you could tag Justin, provided we know his handles. So it's just a really nice way for us to like, you know, recognize people, to say like, hey, no, we see you, we hear you, and, you know, we want to say thanks in our content too. So it's just another way of like, once again, putting the human at the heart of our content and making it as engaging as possible. But yeah, I love it.
Perfect. I see 2 questions that I'll let you answer. Oh, see, I drafted these at the same time, so I'm going to move this to a different day. And I'm going to switch it to draft again, so I don't post these demos to my real Facebook. On YouTube, we have a question: if you can connect multiple Facebook accounts, which I should have assumed we would get this question. Go ahead and explain that while I pull up the next the next one.
Yeah, got it. So yeah, it will be coming. So right now, no. If you wanted to do that, you'd have to have like separate free Adobe Express accounts. And it's good to know that everything that Jordan has shown you so far here, well, most of it is all free as well, which is super powerful. but multi-channels will be coming. So whilst you can kind of hack away around it by having multiple Adobe Express accounts, you very soon will be allowed to have multiple within any single account. That is like our top priority at the moment.
Someone also asked if TikTok is coming.
TikTok, yep, that is on the roadmap, so it will be coming. So yeah, I love this feedback. Keep it coming, because we're shaping up what the direction of content scheduler specifically will be. So yeah,
yes, perfect.
Totally hear you on that one.
And one more question. Well, so this, I love, this is like not, this is an out of office message, but I love the way it looks, and I love, it's literally two things. It's a background and a text. So I'm going to change this to a personal brand, like a recipe or a blog post style. So I changed it to Facebook size, but someone also asked if you can get analytics from Scheduler in the chat while I start editing this.
I'm going to have got a few questions in the chat. So analytics in Scheduler, once again, that's going to be coming real soon. There'll be some really big updates happening around the middle of this year. So keep a lookout for that. It's some big updates coming in the middle of the year. So totally hear you how important that one is. David, you've also asked, if you create one post and post to 4 platforms via schedule, will it auto resize it? So you've got 2 approaches to that. And Jordan and I speak about this a few times.
Show it too if you want.
Yeah, do you know what? Like, yeah, let's take those 2 approaches, because I think that's a really good question from Dave, and I think a lot of people will resonate with that. So let me know when you want to go.
We can do that now. So I just took this out of office, turned it into, if you are, I mean, this could be if you are a blogger, if you are a baker, whatever, anything that would make sense. I also pulled in for like if you're an indie author or like a bookstagrammer, you can ask a question. This could be a blog post header, all kinds of things like this. This could literally be anything, which is great. But what we can do now is, so there are a few options that we like. This is one, this is like very similar to Facebook and Twitter. But you can also duplicate it. And what our favorite is to just post everything as a square. So we'll have 2 different options here. Actually, I'm going to do this. So the great thing about Scheduler, which I love, sorry, this is a little ugly. The favorite thing about Scheduler that I love is that you can pull in, like, we're in a multiple pages project right now. So I can schedule from this page if I want, or schedule from this page if I want. So we can go in to schedule up here. And then let's try Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn.
And David, you've also asked, actually, as we're talking about this, where do you add the tags or multiple tags? You add them in the caption here. So you can just press the @ symbol and start mentioning people here. Obviously, you need to be slightly mindful if you're doing it across multiple different channels, but you can edit afterwards if you want to.
Yeah, we can show that too. So this would be, if we want to see what this looks like for Pinterest, I feel like is the outlier that I really only post vertical content to Pinterest. But if we scroll down, we can hit preview and see what it looks like. So we can see what it looks like on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and on LinkedIn. So that's one way to do it. Or if you wanted to be like very particular, you could repost it for each one. So like we could make this, just for Instagram, schedule this, and then go in, duplicate this post, and then swap it out for Twitter. And is this gonna work? Sorry, I'm doing this like a crazy person. You could go in and pull your projects from your computer that way. So you have options depending on like how particular you want to be. You can individually curate each caption. Like you said, Andy, if you know that you want to tag someone and their handle is different on Instagram and Twitter, this is a nice way to do it so that you can have that be specific to the channels.
Yeah.
So you could go back into your project and then, duplicate it and make this resized for Pinterest, and then go into schedule and schedule it to Pinterest that way. So there are a ton of options. Yeah. Depending on exactly like how you want to structure that. I think there are,
some people like to do the to really fill up the feed and maximize the available space. And if that's you, then that route that you've just shared, Jordan, is the perfect way to do it. So you absolutely optimize for each network. But just in summary, you could use a square and it would look good across all social networks, because Schedule as a platform kind of optimizes it. So it will look good, just probably not as polished as it would look as if you're doing, Jordan's approach. So lots of choice here. So loads of really good questions as well. I'm conscious of time, actually. So
we have 0 minutes left, but I just typed in both of our handles here. We're available all the time, so feel free to DM us or find us on LinkedIn. You can create carousel images. We have a ton of videos too on the Adobe Express YouTube page. You can head to the social media or type in Get Social on the Adobe Express YouTube, and you'll see all of our other videos that dive into a lot of the questions being asked. But yeah, like I said, feel free to DM either me or Andy. We're here and happy to help. And there are a lot of updates coming, which are really fun too. So stay tuned and keep following the Adobe Express YouTube channel for more videos like this. But I think that's it. We'll answer as many of your questions as we can if you want to let us know. And sorry we didn't get to them all live, but thanks so much for joining, and we'll be back soon with more social media updates.
Thank you, everyone. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.